I am devastated by the recent news. I think you are well aware that recently there was a march in London, where people came face to face. What happened at these protests is really disgusting. I understand that we live in the 21st century, and everyone has their own opinion. But this opinion should not grow into inadequacy. I've selected the most vivid scenes for you from those days, so we're starting to watch.
Unfortunately, in spite of all our goodwill, the Israeli government does not take any notice, and they just go ahead and continue the atrocities in Gaza.
All the leaders, listen to your people. And we want peace in the Middle East and in the world, but listen to your people. Your people are out here in the streets every month, and you're just not listening. You're deaf, dumb and blind.
These people are trying to convince us that Israel is the sole culprit of this war. The UN believes that the Israeli army is deliberately committing war crimes, as well as crimes against humanity. The IDF does not stop attacks on medical personnel and medical facilities. This is stated in the report of the UN Independent International Commission of Inquiry. On the 27th of May 2021, the UN Human Rights Council ordered an investigation into all alleged human rights violations. And the IDF is not going to stop. In the near future, the army plans to launch a deadly, precise and unexpected strike on Iran, so that people do not have time to understand anything. Let's listen to them further.
Palestine will be free!
Palestine will be free!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
I'm here because as South Africans, I feel like we have an obligation to stand with our Palestinian comrades in their struggle for self-determination, dignity, and ultimate liberation from the river to the sea.
I'm here today because I am appalled at Israel and the genocide and the attack on innocent people, children, and just victimizing people and now moving on.
But why the United States and other countries actively support Israel in addition to the obvious reasons. So the United States had strong ties with the Jewish people, and the creation of Israel was seen as a symbol of rebirth after the Holocaust. The Holocaust evoked an international sense of solidarity with the Jewish people, and it was recognized that it was necessary to create a safe state for them. The United States saw the creation of Israel as a way to maintain influence in the Middle East and strengthen an ally in the region, especially given the influence of the USSR. For some American politicians and public figures, support for Israel is linked to religious motives based on biblical traditions and prophecies. In fact, all these terrible riots took place in many countries, including Germany. What was happening there shook me to the core. When I saw these scenes, I almost cried. I don't understand why people are so cruel. The pro-Palestinian marches in Berlin were accompanied not only by numerous skirmishes and insults from both sides, but also by fights with the police. Dozens of people were detained. Hundreds of aggressively minded pro-Palestinian activists have taken to the streets again in Berlin's Neukölln district, where a large number of Muslims live. Hundreds of demonstrators also gathered outside the Foreign Ministry building. They threw bottles and stones at the police, overturned and set fire to garbage cans, and used pyrotechnics. As we saw in this scene, they also threw pyrotechnics at the ambulance, which could contain a person who needed urgent medical attention. It's disgusting. The police also stopped an attempt to set fire to the synagogue. Riots also occurred at an anti-Israel march in Beirut, where demonstrators stormed the American embassy in Lebanon. In addition to the fact that there were a large number of fights, there were also a large number of anti-Semitic shouts against Jews. It's impossible to listen to it. That year, if you remember, there was exactly the same march with the same consequences. According to the organizers of the demonstration, they planned to target companies and institutions that they said were involved in Israeli crimes. such as Barclays and the British Museum. In Bedford Square, demonstrators held Lebanese and Iranian flags and placards with the words, "We do not support genocide," and at the same time many chanted, "Free, free Palestine."
Hello visitors and welcome to the Science Museum.
Did you know the Science Museum is supporting genocide by taking money from bad people like Adani Group?
What's a Adani Group?
Adani makes drones and weapons with Israeli companies.
Toy weapons?
I wish.
No, unfortunately, real ones. The Science Museum is taking Adani money for their shiny new gallery, which opens in spring.
Using pity on purpose, they said these terrible things with the help of a child's voice.
So my costume is a representation of what keir starmer is, which is a sausage.
365 days of children and innocent men and women being butchered.
70,000 Israelis have had to evacuate their homes, and the world had nothing to say.
The march seemed to start quite peacefully, with people carrying placards and slogans calling for peace and justice. Supporters of the Palestinian people gathered to express their solidarity and draw attention to the problems faced by the Palestinians. However, as the crowd grew, tension and discontent began to be felt in the air. Father words quickly turned into screams, and then into physical clashes. This was the beginning of chaos. People started pushing, there were screams, and some even started throwing objects. The police had to intervene to separate the conflicting parties. Londoners and supporters of the Palestinians continued to exchange insults.
Can you tell us what's happening right now between the protest and the counter-protest?
Yeah, so you've got the pro-Palestinian protesters on that side. You've got a line of stewards here. Obviously, what happens is you've got pro-Palestinian protesters that get a bit provoked by these Israeli protesters. So we've got a line of people who support the cause who are telling these people to calm down because it's not worth it. That's what these people come here for. They come here to piss you off. That's their only cause. Like, you look there, we've got a Pakistani flag, which is a Muslim country, with the Israeli flag. And obviously the guy that's holding it, he's not Pakistani, he's not Muslim. It's just there to trigger you.
This guy said the right thing. Any protests about such serious problems always end in some kind of provocation or clashes. We live in a society where all people are quite different, with different characters and worldviews. I respect every worldview that is not radical and does not go beyond the norm. I understand that it is very difficult not to be led by these provocations, especially when there is something to say. But the provocateurs are just waiting for people to start being outraged. What do you think about this topic? Please write your opinion in the comments. See you.